So I think I need to go to every Steel Panther concert throughout the rest of their world tour now, right? Is that how this works? Because they were on a 4-game losing streak while I was at my house. But then the second I go away, they win, right? Is that how this works? I think it might be how it works. But in all seriousness, for this episode, was able to fully rewatch the game on ESPN just with my subscription. We're getting into my thoughts on how the Penguins played, plus how they can continue that as they have another massive matchup tonight against the Dallas Stars. It's all coming up right after this drop.
You're Locked On Penguins, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Penguins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at NLSR Penguins. And, of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. Reviewed and available on all platforms. Penguins 5, Avalanche 2. I was at the Steel Panther concert, as I've said about 10,000 times now on the show. You probably all sick and tired of me saying it. But, yeah, I'm going to go follow them on tour now. I'm just going to get up here and I'm just messing around. But, no, I'm back home. Was able to rewatch the game. Wow. That's all I can say. I will gladly put the L right on the top of my forehead. I should honestly just, if I had a pen right here, I would just draw it right here on my forehead. Capital L right there. I said going into this back-to-back, they'd be lucky to even get a point. They have already made me look like a fool. And that kind of game is why this team is so maddening. Truly. They can sweep the Avalanche, and this is a good Avalanche team. I don't care how banged up they are. They were playing really good coming into this game. They had won like 14 of their last 18, 19 games. They were on a roll. They were starting to rediscover the magic they had last year, and they're in contention for the Central. The way the Penguins were able to dominate most of that game, it's so maddening. They can beat them twice. They can beat the Lightning 3 times, combined 5-0 against them. But you lose, you can't even beat the Canadians once, the Senators 2 out of 3 times. You don't even beat the Islanders. So weird. So freaking weird. And of course, we have to start this segment with Sidney Crosby. What a performance from the Penguins captain. That move that he put on Sam Girard, he sent him to the Shadow Realm. That is literally what he did. He had that beautiful crossover, put his stick in the puck right over Girard's stick, went right around him and unleashed that vicious backhand. I think he has the best backhand of the sport. That's honestly not even close. What he did to Girard there at 35 years of age is not fair. It's not. It's not even close to fair. And he put the team on his back last night. He's on pace for 100 points. He does not want this team missing the playoffs. They made the playoffs 16 straight seasons. He's trying to make it 17 in a row here. It's the longest streak in the NHL. He wants playoff hockey. And again, I've said it earlier this week. I'll keep saying it now. If he and the rest of the core are able to drag the rest of this roster to the playoffs, it's going to be one of their greatest feats of this era. He was on another level last night. That goal, just vintage Crosby. Please, I don't care if you are a Penguins fan listening to the show or if you are a neutral fan listening to this show / watching the show. Just never take your eye off the captain. Do not take also any of this for granted. He's 35 now. You're not going to be seeing this for too much longer considering aging curves in the NHL and the fact that he's just not going to be here forever because he's already 35. Cherish these kinds of moments. He is one of the 5 greatest players to ever step foot onto an ice rink. And you saw that last night. He willed them to victory. We'll get to Jeff Carter and a couple other things in just a moment. But last night was about the captain. He was everywhere, being a menace, forechecking, playing well defensively, getting into shooting lanes, playmaking, scoring. His 11th 30-goal season ties Mario Lemieux for the most in franchise history. If he gets another one next year, he will stand alone at the top in terms of the most 30-goal seasons in Pittsburgh Penguins franchise history. He was awesome. he was the reason why they won that game. The main reason, I should say. Tremendous stuff from the Penguins captain. I really can't say much more about him. He's had some games this year where it hasn't been there, but that's the thing for every star player. Every player that's this good has those. But when he's on, there are still not 5 better players than him in this sport. Nick Suarez came on the show last week. Remember, we were talking about how he's one of the best grinders in the game. It's very similar to LeBron James of the NBA. I mean, I know LeBron is considered arguably the GOAT with Michael Jordan. You can even argue that he is better than Michael Jordan. I will gladly hear arguments for it. P.S. I think he is, if you look at his numbers. But, Sid here, I'm not saying he's better, or you can make a case that he's, better than Wayne Gretzky. But in terms of, the all-time greats in the sport, there are not 5 better players who have ever set foot on the rink. It is a pleasure to watch him night in and night out. And, considering where this team was going into that game last night, right? Down 3 to 4 of your best defensemen. Number 1. Your goalie's been playing like garbage. You just got embarrassed on home ice by the Senators. Well, shouldn't say embarrassed. That's probably a bad word. You just lost a game that you should have won against Senators. Same thing with Montreal, but you're losing to teams you should beat in the standings. Teams looking cooked. The GM's still taking a lot of heat. But to come out there and put the team on your back like that's what an all-time great does. And you saw that last night. I wouldn't be surprised if you try to do it again tonight in Dallas. And that's going to be another very tough game for the Penguins to win. I thought going into that game, it was going to be a scheduled loss. But as soon as you saw the captain with his blazing speed, it was honestly right from the drop, to be honest, when I was rewatching it. Right from the drop of the puck, he was everywhere. I know Nathan McKinnon was playing well. He was getting a couple of really glorious chances in the first period, but look what Sid was doing. No, there's a reason why Nate has Sid as his idol. You saw that on display on Wednesday night. Just tremendous stuff from him. And again, I can't say enough good things about the captain. That's how I think I'll end this first segment. Coming up in the second segment, we'll get into a couple of other observations I had about the game. And yes, I will give some praise to Jeff Carter for that performance. That's coming up right after this commercial break. But before we get to that, no matter how the last game went, anytime you take the field, you've got a shot at greatness. Give your team the best shot at winning by recruiting more MVPs with Indeed. If you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And it's the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality appreciations that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. You can find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. One of the things I do love about Indeed, again, is those assessments. I'll also say the virtual interviews are pretty good, but the assessments really help you see if you are truly qualified for the job. Indeed also makes it easy to hire great talent. According to ComScore, Indeed is the #1 job site worldwide. You can start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offers valid through March 31st. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Again, that is Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, we're back here on this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at SO Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. So, Jeff Carter comes out of the woodwork here. I know. 2 goals in this game, 2 goals in the span of 20 minutes after having 5 in the last 40, whatever the number is. It's close to there. Just explodes. And you know what? I'm not going to crap on him on this episode. I won't. I'm going to tell you why. It's very unlikely. It is. If the Penguins can somehow, some way, even if it's a 1% chance, get that level from Carter for the rest of these last 10 games, and if they make the playoffs, they might be cooking with a little more gas here. Again, It's unlikely, but I will give him his flowers. He turned in a very solid performance on Wednesday night. That first goal, very wicked release. Nice deflection on the second goal with a point shot from Brian Dumoulin, I might add. And he really helped the Penguins win that game. You all know it. I have dumped on Carter a lot on this show, on social media. A lot of the other reporters have as well. It pales in comparison to what I think a lot of you think about Carter. Some people have said some more nasty stuff. I obviously have to keep it G/PG because I cover the team and I don't want to just look like a total idiot. But, a lot of that criticism at times has been warranted. But for this game, it's not. He helped them win. And you will take that when you can get it. 2 massive goals, especially on the power play. After the Avs cut it to 2-1, he gets that power play goal to make it 3-1. And then after Devon Taves cuts it to 3-2 on a goal that I didn't really like, that Jarry allowed, thought it was a little weak, in my opinion. Jeff Carter comes back, makes it 4-2, basically puts the game out of reach at that point. And bing, bang, boom, Penguins get 2 massive points. Again, I know it's unlikely, but if the Penguins can get that level from Carter for the rest of the season and into the playoffs, that would obviously be massive, especially because he's taken a lot of heat this season. It's easy to, forget that Carter was once a very, very good player. Obviously, he is not that anymore. He is very washed, all that stuff. But, my money, I'm not putting my money on him having some sort of massive breakthrough, but stranger things have happened. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going back on my criticisms and stuff of the past and how he's been really bad this season. I'm just saying that, hey, even though it's a 1% chance that he turns it around, it was so nice to see the depth really come up and I'll have all 4 lines contribute. Really nice stuff from number 77. It's also a little funny, I will say, that he finally talks to the media after he scores the 2 goals. He's been basically dodging them for the whole season. I know he put the quote out there that he couldn't care less what people say / write about him. Any player is going to say that. I don't really care. But, I will say it is kind of funny that he'll only talk when he plays well in his first good game in 40 plus games. But hey, again, stranger things have happened. Maybe this will be the catalyst for him turning around the final 10 games in the playoffs. Let's temper the expectations. But, I will say that was a very strong performance from him. And hopefully, he can keep those going into Thursday night against the Dallas Stars. Other things that I noticed, Tristan Jarry. Round of applause to the Penguins starting netminder. Very good performance from him. He made some very timely saves in the first period. I don't know what that noise is. Or what that glare was on my screen there. That was weird. Must have been my phone or something like that. Or maybe it was on my laptop. I don't know. But it was just on the video screen. Thought he made some very timely saves in the first period. Nathan McKinnon, I think, hit a post or 2 from what I recall watching the game back, but he made a couple of, massive saves in the second period when the Avalanche pushed a little bit. That was, I think, his best performance since coming back from injury. And the Penguins will need that here down the stretch, and they may even need him on Thursday night. We'll get to that in just a second. And Drew O'Connor, what a menace he was on the puck. He had a couple of glorious chances that Alexander Georgiev, former goaltender of the New York Rangers, stoned him on. If he wasn't on his game and that one, and Georgiev played well, O'Connor potentially has at least 1 goal, if not 2. He's really come into his own in the second half of the season. Really happy that he's a regular right now on this team. I thought he played excellent in that game. Thought Brian Dumoulin, +2. I don't look at plus minus very much, but hey, it's something to, smile about when he's on the ice for 2 goals for and not as many against. So gladly take that. Jake Gensel, he gets another goal. Really nice deflection that he had, by the way. He made it look so easy on that 5-on-3. We got given an assist to Evgeny Malkin there. Power play looked actually pretty good. A game on the road with more than 1 power play goal, even 1 power play goal. That is interesting to say the least, because the power play is usually not good on the road. It's less than 10% of the season, which is one of the worst marks in the league. But the Avalanche penalty kill was not good in this one. That also helps matters for the Penguins there. But, overall, very sound performance from this team. And this wasn't a fluke. This wasn't just, they got lucky. they'll get killed in the next game. They might get killed in the next game because it's a back-to-back, but there was nothing lucky or fluky about this. The Penguins controlled things at 5v5. If you look at natural stat trick, they had 56% of the shot attempts, 55% of the scoring chances, and 53% of the high danger chances, and they had 55% of the expected goals at 5-on-5. If we take that to all situations, Penguins had 55% of the shot attempts, 53% of the scoring chances, 53% of the high danger chances, and 64% of the expected goals. 64% to almost 35-36 for the Avalanche. That is a job well done against one of the best teams in the league. I will take that any day of the week, if you're asking me. All four lines contributed. All three defensive pairings, contributed. The starting goaltender played well. And I'll say it again. You can see the basis for a good team in this kind of game. Top six is producing. The depth finally produces. The defense is playing very well, getting their sticks, into the shooting lanes, also blocking shots. Goaltender makes some really big saves. They're forechecking aggressively, the forwards that is. You can see it. Since the All-Star break, this team is 5th in expected goals. They've been the better team in most of these games. What's held them back? Special teams and goaltending, and probably some bad depth scoring. That obviously falls on the GM because a lot of these players can't score. But, usually the other things are fixable. At least the special teams are, I feel like. But, the power play, I think, is what it is at this point. The penalty kill is what really needs to be fixed. But you can see the basis for a good team is there. The process is there. The results just haven't been. But I was stunned by this one. I'll say that. We'll have to see if they can continue it on Thursday night against Dallas Stars. We will preview that game coming up right after this commercial break. But first, we do have to discuss our wonderful partnership with FanDuel. The NCAA tournament is heating up with the Sweet 16 this week. It actually starts on Thursday night, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line to point spreads to which team will be cutting down the net. And it's all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NCAA tournament and Locked On. All right, I'm back in this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at NLSR Penguins. Thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. So, Penguin Stars tonight, 9 o'clock start time. ESPN is the cable provider, so it's not going to be on your local network. And there's some big injury updates for this game. Earlier today, Dustin Tokarski and Philip Hollander were recalled on an emergency basis. Hollander means there's going to be not one, but two forwards out. My guess is that's Jake Gensel and Jason Zucker. They both returned last night, but they both also blocked shots. Maybe some swelling heated up, and it's not big of a turnaround because it's the night after. We'll have to see. If it's not one or both of them, then someone is sick, or two players are sick because two players are coming out of line. Alex Nylander is going to be coming in for someone, and then Hollander will be coming in for somebody as well. We'll have to see when Mike Sullivan speaks to the media. I believe he'll be speaking at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And as for Justin Tokarski, one of the goalies not going to be able to suit up tonight. My educated guess is that Tristan Jarry is going to start and Tokarski will back up. Casey DeSmith has been dealing with an illness. He backed up last night, but maybe something happened. Though it could be Tristan Jarry is hurt. That's very plausible. I didn't see anything wrong with him after the game on Wednesday night. His movement seemed to be fine. He was tracking the puck very well. Maybe he's out, though. We'll have to see. I don't know. Again, if I had to make a prediction, though, I think Tristan goes again tonight, but I could be just dead wrong on that. But, it's Penguin Stars tonight down in the Big D, Dallas, Texas. Another very, very, very strong team. Dallas Stars are a legitimate Stanley Cup contender, and it is not hard to see why. Jason Robertson is an MVP candidate. Well, Hart Trophy finalist candidate, I should say. That's going to be going to Connor McDavid. But Robertson has almost 90 points this season. He's going to get over 100. He is one of the best players this sport has to offer. Have your eyes glued to him. He is fantastic. He plays on a line with Rupe Hintz, the goal scorer in the last matchup against the Stars, with Joe Pavelski, who has found the fountain of youth. Jamie Benn, who never goes down, with Wyatt Johnston and Evgeny Dadonov on the second line. Looks like Tyler Seguin is returning tonight. Peter DeBoer said he's a game-time decision. He's missed the last 6 games. He'll be playing with Ty Dellandrea and with Max Domi, and then Yoel Kiviranta with Radek Faksa and Luke Glendening to round out their forwards. Defensively, Miro Heiskanen, Colin Miller, Esa Lindell, Yanni Hakanpää, Ryan Suter, and Niels Lundqvist. And then Jake Ottinger will be starting in net tonight. Mason Marchman's day-to-day doesn't look like he's playing. But this is still a very strong Stars team. I think, they forecheck well, they defend hard, and they have one of the best young goaltenders in the sport. What Jake Ottinger almost did to the Flames last season was nothing short of ridiculous. He almost willed that team to a series win. He is the real deal. And this is a classic Peter DeBoer coach team. And usually in his first year or two, he gets the most out of his teams, and then they tend to just, go back a little bit. This year, you're seeing that firsthand. The Stars right now tied for first place in the Central Division, 38-19-14. They're 38-33 overall. They have 14 overtime losses. This is actually the worst team in the league in terms of 3-on-3. They cannot win an overtime game to save their life. It's way worse than the Penguins. I'll say that. But another game where the Penguins desperately probably need a result. It's going to be very hard though. Not only it's a back-to-back. You're down half your defensive core. You're going to be down 2 more forwards tonight. Who knows if your starting goaltender is playing? This is going to be a very hard game to win. I was very stunned that they even got, a point, let alone 2 out of the Avalanche game. I'll be even more stunned if they get a point, let alone win this game in Dallas. Really curious to see how this one goes. Panthers play tonight. Believe the Islanders do not play. I believe the Panthers play the Maple Leafs at home. We'll also be watching the scoreboard with that. Right now, Penguins are in control of their own destiny. They have they're 1 point up on the Panthers right now. It's kind of a 3-team race for the last 2 spots. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Again, 9 p.m. start time. Really want to see from the Penguins tonight. Play the same defensively. Want to see the goalie, if it's Tristan Jarry, play the same way he played last night. Want to see the power play be consistent if they get the same amount of power plays. Also want to see them forecheck the way they did last night. Keep things simple. Don't take too many, aggressive chances, slash being too aggressive pinching in the zone. Dallas is rested for this game. They're one of the best teams in the league. They can hurt you at any chance. Penguins have to be unaware for them, especially because their top 6 is loaded. Penguins played the Stars very well in the first matchup. I believe that was a 2-1 final. Evgeny Malkin won the game. I was there for that game. Evgeny Malkin won the game with less than a minute left in regulation. That one's going to be a lot of fun to watch, to say the least. But that will do it for this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'll have a full recap of this game against the Stars coming up on Friday. Then we'll also preview the game on Saturday against the Washington Capitals. A little bit of a shorter one today. Just want to get this content out there for you. And also, we hit 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I am super happy about that. Thank you all so much for supporting that channel and just continue to support the show, whether it's audio and especially as I'm talking right now, video. Again, I'll be back with another episode for you all on Friday. We'll see what this team can do tonight if they can steal another one. At least steal a point considering the circumstances right now and let alone get a win. We'll see what happens. Again, talk to you all on Friday.